This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 7.
Welcome to the show that focuses on helping real estate agents build a bulletproof business plan so that they can sell more properties in less time and live a more fulfilled life.
Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to build a better real estate agent business, I've created a free jumpstart course for you at freeagentgift.com. So let's get started in this episode. Today, I want to cover intellectual insecurity. And on the heels of the last episode, you can remember my brother and this savvy seller. So as we go back and look at that, the whole point was based in intellectual insecurity. I don't know enough about the real estate business, buying and selling. I don't know enough yet. So how can I talk to these savvy consumers? They know so much. They have all this higher education and they've done it before. What about me? Like I said in the last episode, I think that's absurd. I think just because somebody might be intelligent in one area of life, it has absolutely nothing to do with buying and selling. And sorry to all you for sale by owners, but you're a minority of the business. And if it was so easy to do selling a property by yourself, then we'd see a lot greater percentage of the industry go like that. And of course, everybody these days, the next technology company that comes along is somehow miraculously going to put all these real estate agents out of business. I think that's absurd. Why? Because this is a much more difficult transaction than anybody will give it credit for being. Technology companies are coming in and trying to manipulate the information and market it better. Sure, that has put a great pressure on all of us to be better, and indeed we have become better. But the real issue here is our intelligent approach to this business. And as people, especially if you're listening to this podcast, you have some dedication to learning more, knowing more, and not leaving yourself all of these blind spots so that intellectually you are becoming a student of the real estate agent business. Therefore, there is no such thing as a savvy consumer to the extent that they are savvier than you might be. Even if they do know a lot about real estate, even if they have done a lot of research, well, great. If you're taking this intelligent pursuit in real estate, then you can meet them. You can share ideas. You can talk to them, and they'll appreciate that, assuming they don't have their own intellectual insecurity coming right back at you. And the other thing is, I think when you first come into this business also, there's this concept that the competition is stiff. It's really stiff. Well, that person already controls that whole area. They own that area. You hear that all the time. That is also ridiculous. By the way, if you ever talk to any top producer, I guarantee they will tell you that if they are not working on it in some form or fashion, their business is going backwards. You have to always be working on this. So even if you're a savvy realtor and you stop growing, you could get passed by a rookie in a second. And that segues into the next point perfectly. As top producers, oftentimes the irony is, as we study, we tend to go so deep. We want to learn this game at such a high level that we're going to block out all the competition, because when we get in that listing, for example, we're going to spend 2-3 hours, whatever it takes, to prove to that seller that we are the only choice. And on the other end, it's the rookie who says, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I could ever go into that house. I'm so intimidated. I'm up against XYZ top producer or top producing company. I'm dead on arrival. I just wouldn't even do it. So this reminds me of the story of Goldilocks, right? Is the bed too hard? Is the bed too soft? Well, somewhere in the middle, it's just right. And what I mean by that is if you're coming in there with all this vigor and you're over the top and you're drilling down, are you really listening to the consumer and what they need? Or is your intellectual insecurity as a student of this gotten out of control? Are you going too over the top to show and to prove that you know what you're talking about? In fact, I've seen it in me trigger a certain defensiveness. After going through these long diatribes about how great my process was, only to be challenged by something that seems so trivial, did I then get defensive? Well, that's intellectual insecurity. So I'll plead guilty in front of all of you. That's just what happens when you become a top producer and you're trying to get more savvy yourself. There's a double-edged sword to this. Study, but chunk it up, like I say on all of these episodes. You want to chunk this up for the consumer. And that's wherein the rookie has a great chance. Why is a rookie be so intimidated when if you would just simply understand the bone structure of a simple process to selling a property, then you're just fine. I'm not saying that you wouldn't lose based on resume, but you would be able to go in and compete with anybody and take the chance that indeed, guess what happens? The seller likes you better. Sure, I understand that this other guy or gal has this great resume, but I don't know. There was something about you I just liked. And I also liked that you had a simple strategy. They were just so over the top, and I got intimidated myself. So I think if you'll listen to me and you'll work with me a little bit, says the seller, then I think I'd like to give you a shot. That happens every single day in this business, and especially those rookies or newer to the business who have grown up in a digital economy where they're coming at it with some simple strategies that they've learned online that can really help get a property sold. So the next point is that constant strategic study actually reveals the formulas that I just referenced. Over time, what I've found is that the more that I've studied and gotten rid of or attacked my own intellectual insecurity, I recognize the simplicity in everything. See, when you're intellectually insecure, you want to find that, I guess it's the holy grail of real estate. You want to figure out that thing nobody else has figured out so that you come in and you're the smartest person in the room, and that's why people choose you. I've found the opposite. As I've gotten a little longer in the tooth there, a little bit older, I find out that simple is better. And we talked about that in a couple episodes back, where you're in good company if you recognize that simple is better. Einstein, he felt that way. If you look at Napoleon Hill and his theory of success and his formula, it's so simple. These formulas reveal themselves. And I think the formulas reveal themselves to those who are humble workers. Somebody who comes at a body of work and studies it, understands that intuitively and from a common sense perspective, that was actually pretty simple. That's the way it worked. I'm not saying that our business, real estate agency, is simple because, of course, people complicate that. Their emotions about this financial transaction can go haywire. But what's actually happening underneath that process of selling, for example, I won't get into the details of it today, but I follow a very simple 7-point strategy these days. When people say, Danny, I would love to get a hold of your listing presentation. Really? I'll just give it to you. It's a 1-page infographic where I put that in front of the seller and I go through these 7 points. Now, the difference between you and I would be the ability to deeply articulate any one of those 7 points if and only if it's that important to the seller. So, for example, if somebody wants to talk more about marketing, sure, I could go off on a whole seminar about what I've learned about marketing and how I do it to present my listings to the marketplace. But again, for the rookie or the top producer, meeting somewhere in the middle with a simple strategy, a simple formula that you can reveal to the buyer, the seller, or if you're a recruiter, to the agent that you're trying to bring on. I think that's the key here. There again, no intellectual insecurity and being secure about saying, hey, you know what? This is pretty simple. I'm not going to complicate it. I want to show you how simple I think it is. Because what it still leaves you is your ability to work hard and make the formula come to life for them and handle the challenges that inevitably come. And then the last point I wanted to make here is that I think if you don't simplify things, and you don't go out and educate the public, I think you're doing a disservice. It's a public disservice. If you really think about it that way, as a public disservice to not educate the simplistic, there's a real problem there. I mean, this is a fiduciary responsibility. A real estate agent license is a fiduciary responsibility to bring to the consumer a simple education about how to sell or buy a property. So if you know that and you're a rookie and you don't bring that to them, shame on you. That's just a missed opportunity. And to the top producer, same thing. If you complicate it and you leave them even more dazed and confused about how our business works, shame on you too. And again, I've been both of these things. I'm talking to myself before I'm speaking to you. So understand that that's the key. So to summarize the key point here, I want to say you have to learn how to challenge your own intellectual insecurities and be aware of them. I think that's the first thing, an awareness that we are all intellectually secure because we want to matter, and that's okay. And how you do that is by recognizing that not all consumers or your competition is savvy. Everybody's either growing or contracting. The second point was that whether you're a top producer or you're a rookie, somewhere in the middle, you will find that you can simplify and clarify and not be intimidated by presenting what is the third point, a simple formula. Just look for the simple ways that it works. And if you're early in the business and you're just learning, use your common sense. Common sense always provides you early in any process an intuitive feel for the business. Explain what you're feeling. Explain what you're seeing. And I think that's where point number 4 comes in. You will be doing a public service. That's very important for all of us to remember. If we want to improve the image of the real estate agent business, it is very critical to understand that we owe the public a better explanation of how things work. Okay? So remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with our free video course over at freeagentgift.com. And that's whether you're a rookie or a top producer. Never be intellectually insecure enough to stop learning. So if you like what you've learned here as well, then we'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, of course, and help us share these insights by giving us a positive review. He'll said it again, review on whichever platform you're listening so that other entrepreneurial real estate agents just like you can find their way here to join us. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to helping you in the next episode.
You've been listening to The Realty Classroom with Danny Griffin. Join us next time to continue learning how to build a smarter real estate agent business plan that helps you live a more fulfilled life.